Today you are going to learn English with the news article. We are going to read the news article together. Welcome back to Smile English Learn. Of course, I'm Zeeshan. So let's started. That first headline is that murder on the seas. Murder on the seas is typically maritime homicides, the act of killing someone on a ship or boat at a sea. Illegal activities, smuggling, human trafficking, or other elites activities that involves violence or murder at sea. That first paragraph is that it is time Pakistan asserted itself more forcefully and played a bigger role in busting international human trafficking networks. As a wide crackdown continues across the country, it has emerged that most of the 44 Pakistanis who perished in the recent Moroccan's boat tragedy died at the hands of African smugglers who reportedly tortured and murdered their cargo while firing them from Mauritania to Europe. That important word is that asserted bustings. That important meanings asserted is to state or declare some things confidently or firmly, often with authority or convictions. For example, she asserted that she was innocent of the crime. Busting can have different meaning depending on the context. Important breaking or shatterings to break or shatter something violently or suddenly. For example, the glass vase busted on the floor. Trafficking to illegal trade or transportations of goods, people, or services, often involving exploitations or coercions. For example, the organization works to combat human trafficking and support its victims. A wide crackdown, a board that intends effort to suppress or punish a particular activity, behaviors, or groups. The government launched a wide crackdown on corruption on arresting several high-ranking officials. Emerge is that important word to become visible, apparent, or known after being hidden, obscure, or unknown. The sun emerged from being for behind the clouds. Perished is a verb that to die or killed, often in a sudden violent manner. At the hands of admitting expression by the actions or agency of someone or something. Responsibility or blames. The company suffered a significant loss at the hands of its former CEO. Tortured is a verb that physical sufferings, inflicting severe pain, injury, or harm to someone's body. The prisoner was tortured by the gods. Firing is a verb that regular transportation services. A schedule are regular services that transport people to good across a body or water. For example, the firing services connects the island to the mainland. That next paragraph, around a half dozen suspects have reportedly been picked up by the Moroccan Navy who have initiated illegal proceedings against them under local laws. However, this should not be enough for Pakistani authorities, who must pursue this case till its logical end and get justice for the murder solved by making sure these merchants of misery can never ply their evils trade against. That important word is suspects. Picked up proceedings should not be enough. Pursue merchant of misery. Suspect is a noun that criminal investigation, individuals who are being investigated or questioned by law enforcement in connection with a crime. The police have identified several suspects in the robbery case. Have been is an example present perfect continuous tense. This tense is used to describe an action started in the past, continues up to the present moment, may continue into the future. Picked up is a verb phrase that physical action to lift or take hold of something, often with a one hand. She picked up the toy and put it away. Proceeding is a noun that actions, events, or steps taken in a formal or official processes such as meeting, trial, and investigation. Should not be example present tense of the modal verb is should not in negative forms expressing recommendation, advice, or obligations. Present tense of the modal verb should in the negative imperative form. Pursue is to follow or chase someone, something, often with intention of catching or achieving something. The police pursued the suspect through the streets. Merchant of people or organizations that buy and sell goods services, often in a specific industry or market. Misery is a noun, a state of great physical or mental suffering, distress, and unhappiness. The patient endured misery during her long illness. Ply their evil is to engage or practice wicked, malevolent, harmful activities. The cyber bullies ply their evils trade online harassing innocent victims. The next paragraph meanwhile the crackdowns on human smugglers with Pakistan must not stop an individual around involved in the transactions trafficking. Trade should not be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. The authorities have identified smuggling hotspots. They must know map the network, identify those involved, disables this trade, and create strict deterrents to ensure such tragedies do not recur. That important word transactional trafficking prosecuted fullest extent of have identified disabled deterrents recur. Transactional trafficking is trafficking that involves the movement of people, goods, services across international border. The organization was involved in transactional trafficking of humans, smuggling peoples from one country to another. Prosecuted to bring a legal action against someone, typically for a crime. The company was prosecuted for violating environmental regulations. Fullest is to greatest or highest degree amount of extent. The fullest potential of the law new technology has not yet been realized. Extent of is the degree or amount to which something exists, happen, or true. Have identified present perfect tense. This tense is used to describe an action that started in the past and continues up to the present moment, or an action that occurred at an unspecified time in the past has a connections to the present. They have identified the problem, disabled to make something or someone unable to work, functions and operate. The security software disabled the malware. Deterrents, things that discourage or prevent someone from doing something. Recur is a verb that to happen or occur again, often irregular or repeated patterns. The company financial struggles recur very few years. The next paragraph, it is commendable that the Prime Minister has taken a personal interest in this tragedy. He has taken it upon himself to head a special task force formed to combat human trafficking syndicates in the country. Given the global outcry against illegal migration, it is extremely important for Pakistan to demonstrate it is taking proactive measures. Its reputation should not be tarnished by these reprehensible practices. That important would recommendables to head syndicates outcry demonstrate proactive measures tarnished by reprehensibles. Commendable is a worthy of praise approval, deserving a recognition of admiration. To had to be in charge or lead something to be the lead or director of a group organization or project. Syndicate is a group of individuals or organizations that work together to achieve a common goal or interest. Outcry is a strong and widespread expression of public anger, protest, and disapproval. Demonstrate to show prove something clearly or obviously. Proactive measures action taken in advance to prevent or prepare for problem situations. Tarnished by is to be damaged or spoiled by something, to have one's reputation or image harmed or discredited by something. Reprehensible is deserving of strong criticism or disapprovals. Unacceptables are morally wrongs, worthy of condemnations or blame. Next paragraph, far too long human smugglers have exploited vulnerable and impressionable young flocks and extorted millions from their families after promising them tickets to greener pastures. Many of those who have been trapped in their web have paid not only exorbitant sums of money but also with their lives during the perilous journey that were forced to take. Exploited impressionables flock extorted greener pastures have been trapped exorbitant and perilous. That important word exploited is to take unfair or unethical advantages of someone or something for personal gain or benefit. The country was criticized for exploiting its forests without regard for environmental consequences. Impressionable is an adjective, susceptible or being influenced or impressed by external factors such as opinions, ideas, and experience. The impressionable teenager was heavily influenced by the peers. Flock is a noun that people in general, ordinary peoples, are as opposed to those in positions of power and authority. The flock of the village welcomed to the travelers warmly. Exhorted is the past tense that exhort to obtain something, especially money, by force, threats, or other form of coercions. The company was accused of extorting money from its customers. Greener is comparative adjective. More greener is color having a greater degree of greenness. The greener grass on the other side of the fence made our laws look dull. Pasture is a noun that areas of land covered with grass and other plants used by grazing animals, especially livestock such as cattle and sheep and horses. The former pastures were lush and green after the spring rains. Trapped is definition of a verb that can find and caught in a situation or place from which is difficult to impossible escape. The hikers was trapped in the cave by a handslide. Exorbitant is an adjective. Extremely high or excessive beyond what is considered reasonable or acceptable. The exorbitant price of luxury car made it unaffordable for most people. Perilous is an adjective. Full of danger, risks, or hazardous. The perilous mountains climb required careful planning and expertise. That next paragraph. Meanwhile, upstanding citizens also ended up paying the price, as many foreign countries have implemented such stricter scrutiny for travelers from Pakistan and often deny them visas for no fault of their own. There is therefore an urgent need for officials to demonstrate zero tolerance for human trafficking and to take the lead in international investigations whatever possible. The world must be assured that Pakistan is serious about eliminating the problems. Meanwhile, upstanding citizens implemented stricter scrutiny demonstrate assured eliminating that important words and meanings. Meanwhile, adverb that at the same time during a period of time when something else is happening. At the same time simultaneously while. Upstanding citizen is person of good characters, reputations, or moral integrity who contribute positively to their community and society. Implemented is to put a plan, policy, or system into action or effort, often through a series of steps or actions. Stricter is a comparative adjective more severe, rigid, exacting in rules, standards, or requirement. Scrutiny is the noun that close or careful examinations or inspection, often in order to judge or evaluate something. The scientist's research was subjected to intense scrutiny before it was published. Demonstrate is a form of demonstrations, protest, or rally to show public sports opposition for a cause. The group demonstrated against the news policies. Assured is a verb to make someone confident or certain. The teacher assured students that they were well prepared for the exam. Eliminating is a verb that to remove or get rid of something completely. The new policy aims at eliminating poverty in the community. That we repeat the paragraph is that murdered on the seas. It is time Pakistan asserted itself more forcefully and played a bigger role in busting international human trafficking network. As wide crackdowns continues across the country, it has emerged that most of the 44 Pakistani who perished in the recent Moroccan's boat tragedy died at the hands of African smugglers, who reportedly tortured and murdered their cargo while firing them from Mauritania to Europe. Around half a dozen suspects have reportedly been picked up by the Moroccan Navy, who have initiated legal proceedings against them under local laws. However, this should not be enough for Pakistan authorities, who must pursue this case till its logical end and get justice from the murdered souls by making sure this merchant of misery can never ply their evil trade against. Again, meanwhile, the crackdown of human smugglers within Pakistan must not stop, and any individual found involved in the transaction trafficking trade should not be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. The authorities have identified smuggling hotspots. They must now map the network, identify those involved, disable this trade, and create strict deterrents to ensure such tragedies do not recur. It is commendable that the Prime Minister has taken a personal interest in this tragedy. He has also taken it upon himself to head a special task force formed to combat human trafficking syndicates in the country. Given the global outcry against illegal migration, it is extremely important for Pakistan to demonstrate it is taking proactive measures. Its reputation should not be tarnished by its reprehensible practices. For too long, human smugglers have exploited vulnerable and impressionable young flock and extorted millions from their families after promising them tickets to greener pastures. Many of those who have been trapped in their web have paid not only exorbitant sums of money, but with their lives during perilous journeys they were forced to take. Meanwhile, upstanding citizens also ended up paying the price as many foreign countries have implemented such sticker scrutiny for travelers from Pakistan and often deny them visas no fault of their own. There is therefore an urgent need for officials to demonstrate zero tolerance for human trafficking and to take and lead in international investigation where whatever is possible. The world must be assured that Pakistan is serious about the eliminating the problems. So please subscribe this channel and share so news videos uploading so that please subscribe this channel and shares.